Assalamu alaikum, peace be with you and welcome to Islam and Life with me, Tariq Ramadan, broadcasting from London. In today's show we ask the question, how can Muslims be more influential in European political life?
George Galloway's sensational victory in a by-election in Bradford West, north of England, sent a shockwave through mainstream political parties. No one can deny the importance of the Muslim vote. In France, too, the issue of the Muslim vote is now becoming more important, where President Sarkozy tried to improve his poll, pandering to xenophobes and Islamophobes. Mr. Sarkozy and Mr. Hollande of the Socialist Party are in a very close race to win the presidential election. National Front's Muslim-baiting Marine Le Pen also relied on anti-immigrant sentiments. In the second round of voting, Sarkozy would try to attract some of the National Front's 6.4 million votes. What might change the scene in the French election could be the Left Front Jean-Luc Mélenchon's dramatic rise. His near 4 million votes could go to Francis Hollande of the Socialist Party in the second round. In the current situation, votes of Muslims could have a decisive impact on the result. Although the voice of Muslims is becoming louder, it shows that in the European political environment, there is a long way for Muslims to fully participate in the political scene. This week's Islam and Life asks, how can Muslims be more influential in European political life?
Yes, the way could be very long for the Muslims to be visible, to be involved, and to be influential in anything which has to do with politics and the political struggle and power struggle that we can see in European countries. We have seen what happened in the UK with a very important presence with George Galloway within the British landscape. And it's everywhere the same. You can see some individuals, but at the grassroots level, the point is that the Muslim presence and the Muslim citizens, European citizens, could have a tremendous influence in anything which has to do with the future of political life. In France, the second round of the election is coming this Sunday, and we can see how much the Islamic presence is instrumental. Instrumental in a way where you have, the president Nicolas Sarkozy using the Muslim presence, using this immigrant factor to tell the French people who are supporting Marine Le Pen from the Populist Party, the extreme right, that these people are supporting the Socialist Party. On the other side, you have the Socialist Party, François Hollande, responding by saying, no, I have nothing to do with them. So in one way or in another, Islam and the Muslim presence is playing a very important role. Could this be more positive? How can it be changed and be instrumental in asking the right questions to the European societies or to the French society when the elections are coming? These are critical questions, and to answer all these questions, I'm joined by Marwan Muhammad, the founder of Full Express website and spokesperson for the Collective Against Islamophobia in France. Thank you so much for being with us today. You are working at the grassroots level. You have been working for years in France, and especially providing the authorities or institutions, Amnesty International, with what you are doing on the ground with this Collective Against Islamophobia in France. And you are quite aware of all what is happening just before the election and in fact, over the last few years. So let us come to this presence, the Muslim presence in France. And we'll take France as an example and then come also to get a wider picture with the European landscape. What is the state of affairs? What is happening today that is so specific with the French society?
Yes, so we are in a situation in French society where we have somewhere around 6 million Muslims, and these Muslims, they have been present in the country for a long time. Still, their involvement in political life is very low at the moment, and these communities usually have a very low turnout rate at the elections, which gives no incentive to political figures to respect them and to include them in the political game. So we're in a situation in France right now where we have a rising Islamophobia, and by Islamophobia I'm talking about all the anti-Muslim hate crimes and discriminations that occur in the country. And for 2011, for example, we have registered 298 cases of hate crimes and discriminations against Muslims. 84% of these cases are against women, these same women that we pass anti-Muslim laws against. And claiming that we are
about
going
the
to help
headscarf
them.
and the niqab.
Yes, about the headscarf and the niqab, and now we also have like ministerial decisions to ban them from school events, and also to force the kids to eat meat at the canteen, even if they are vegetarian or Muslim or Jewish.
Okay, so let me come to one question, because this is something that how would you explain? 6 billion is almost the figure that of the people supporting Marine Le Pen. And this is 6 million. What you are saying that the Muslim presence it's huge. It's a very important. It's the biggest Muslim community, not only in Europe but even in the Western countries. It's more than in the States. It's more than in Australia and in Canada. So it's a huge number. Why and how would you explain the fact that they are not so much involved in politics? While at the same time, what we see now, just before the election, is that the President Nicolas Sarkozy is targeting them just to get the voters. So it would be exactly the opposite in a normal process. Thus, being targeted should push them to be much more involved. And what you are saying is that they are not so much involved.
Yes, to be able to make this decision, they first need to understand the political game, the way it is structured. And so far what we see is that this community is more determined by its social and economic status in the society. So if they feel excluded, whether they are Muslims or non-Muslims, they don't get involved in the political game and in the decision-making the decision-making process in the country. So what we see is a very low turnout rate, but this situation is changing over time. So now we're at a turning point in this community where some of the Muslims in the country are raising their heads and organizing themselves to make a difference in the game. I'll just take one figure that is very significant about the last presidential election. The main difference in numbers of voters between Ségolène Royal and François Bayrou was about
François Bayrou was the third one.
The third one
yes.
who didn't make it to the second round.
Yeah.
And the difference in votes was 1 million voters. Okay, so what we are saying is that if only 20% of the Muslims in the country were able to vote and to express their political opinion through the elections, they would be able to make the decision of who is going to the second round and who is not. And so the power, what we understand about politics is it's a question of leverage. If you are able to have the leverage on who's deciding and who's not, then you can certainly make your concern listened to in the country.
But if I listen to what you are saying, Marwan, what we have now is between Nicolas Sarkozy, who is the second one now, because he is the president, and François Hollande now, it's the leading candidate. Between them, we are told it's between 6 to 8% between them. It means that, in fact, if we look at the reality within the French society, the voters, and among them the Muslim voters, could be instrumental to go in one way or in another, which is not happening, while at the same time, as I was saying, Islam is becoming central in the decision process, in anything which has to do with, over the last few years, we have been talking about national identity. We have been talking about halal meat. We have been talking about the niqab. We have been talking about praying in the streets. All these topics were dealt with through the cultural, religious presence and portraying Muslims as not really French. So at the end of the day, the party which is winning today is the Front National. All the rhetoric is here. So how can we just relying on figures. Change this awareness, change this understanding. While at the same time in the UK here with Galloway, he was able just to make it clear, I'm going to fight, and he's using international issues coming to the reality within, and he is able to is this the way forward? Should we push the people to be involved because they have a Muslim background, or is there something else that should be done in France because France is specific?
Definitely. The first thing we need to tell the Muslims is to take action in the wider society. Take action in a positive manner. Because fighting Islamophobia is not only the problem of the Muslims. Fighting Islamophobia is solving the problem that causes a social distance between fellow citizens today in France. Also, Muslims need to be active in this game because they need to be asking the real questions. The real questions within the country have been totally avoided in this campaign. The problems of housing, unemployment, social distance between people, and the lack of hope in the country, generally speaking. So what we see is that both on the left wing and on the right wing of the political game in France, we have been focusing on epiphenomenon. In this
superficial
campaign.
Things are things that are not related.
Halal food is not the main issue of the French people. Unemployment is the main issue of the French people. And in a country where we have 10% unemployed people and 10% Muslims, I think it is more important to focus on the unemployed people. So Muslims do have to play this role, but they need to play it in a constructive, useful manner for the wider society. Because when we try to develop an ethical way of looking at environmental issues or economic issues, it benefits the wider society, the society at large, and not only a specific group within it.
Would you say, for example, listening to what you are saying, you say we have to be, the French Muslims should be active at the grassroots level beyond their community, contributing to the better or the future of the society. Does it mean that you would be against any kind of Muslim votes and lobbying in the name of Islam, as some people here don't understand? In Britain, for example, they don't understand. And in the States, I can tell you, I met so many people, Muslims and activists, they are saying, we don't understand the French people. Why don't they work on this? So would you explain why you are not supporting this, apparently?
I'm not neglecting this possibility. It's just that in the French society, the idea of community is a taboo question. So you have a kind of a complete asymmetry between the way we deal with community depending on who's part of this community. So there is no problem talking about the Jewish community. There is no problem going to the dinner organized every year by the Representative Council for Jewish Institution. But if we have like the same approach on the side of the Muslim community, then it becomes what the French citizens call communitarism, i.e. the Muslims, beware, they are kind of taking over and they are organizing themselves as a community. And so this is completely stigmatized in the public discourse. The mainstream idea would be that the community, when it comes to Muslim, is an issue. It can be a threat. So the reason I'm saying this is that we need to not to be naive about the fight against Islamophobia. As I said, politics is more about putting in place kind of a leverage on political figures, because if we do not have any strength on them by our votes, by our economic power, then we have absolutely no incentive on them to change their behavior. And so far, Muslim bashing is the national sport in France. So that's one thing. But at the same time, the same way we fight very hard against Islamophobia, whatever we suggest, whatever we develop, needs to benefit to the society at large. And we shouldn't be thinking in terms of we are going to develop everything that is good just for ourselves like some other people do, but rather say we think we have something useful to the rest of the society, and this also includes the values of Islam in terms of ethics, in terms of respect, in terms of environmental issues, and we think that it is so good that we want to share it with everyone.
But how are you going to do this? Because it's quite optimistic in the way, you know, the elections are coming. It's quite clear now that Muslims are put on one side versus the Front National. So it's the National Front is really the populist voters, and it's in between. Fears are used, mistrust. how are you going to be trusted? How are you going to do things within the society where day in, day out, what you get is really very, clear racism, anti-Muslim racism that is part of the political discourse, and it's coming at the highest level now. It's the debate between the two candidates. They are coming back always to these discussions. So how can you do that?
I think we should first avoid to react to their political agenda. Because so far we are kind of in a laboratory where politicians and populists among them are creating events, and we just react to it. They pass a law, we react to it. They publish a speech in the media, we react to it. And so we spend all our life watching this TV, waiting for these guys to pronounce the new truth and to react to it. So our action should be focused on two mainstreams. Number one, on the field of Islamophobia, we should stand firm, stand for our rights, and make sure that we give legal incentive, media incentive, political incentive to change behavior. It means that no victim should accept Islamophobia anymore, which is the case so far. And that's why when I say that we have 300 cases a year, I'm widely underrepresenting the reality. The second stream of action should not be defensive and should not be in this antagonism against Islamophobia, but rather should be constructive, i.e. we are going to try and influence the wider society with positive issues. We are going to engage in education, we are going to engage in developing the suburbs where there are high rates of unemployment. And the way to do this is to propose ideas and propose actions, constructive actions. So that's why I'm part of two organizations. Number one, Collective Against Islamophobia, to resist against discrimination and hate crimes, and at the same time, Full Express, where we try to develop this approach on educational issues, environmental issues, social and economic issues by, for example, taking a group of students that are in high difficulties at school and preparing them for the baccalaureate, or, for example, by providing analysis on what to do to develop economics at a local level in a suburb where there is high rates of unemployment, and try to promote new entrepreneurs in these areas. So there has to be like this double action.
So that's very interesting and important. It's just paving the way for more contributing presence for the Muslims in the coming future. That's all good. Now, when people are coming to you, as they are coming to me when we meet with them in France, and they are saying, I'm facing discrimination on the job market, I can't get a job for women wearing the headscarf, forget about it. It's not going to happen for them to get a job. So they are dealing with this. So avoiding reaction on that field, it's quite difficult. So paving the road is necessary to have a long-term vision. Still, the elections are coming. People are facing discriminations. What can be done for them just to get their rights and their dignity respected? And would you say, and this is the second question, that you will connect the two of them, that between the two candidates, there is one who is better than the other?
Okay, so number one, what should we do about discrimination on an everyday basis? You rightly pointed to the fact that we have a victim that is neglected, that is set apart. I call her the silent victim of Islamophobia. It's this lady who will never do studies because she knows in advance that she's going to be discriminated against in the working environment. So she doesn't do any study, and she put a black cross on all her dreams and all her hopes. So when this happens, and when we see that there is a victim of Islamophobia, she should come to us because we have the legal tools and campaigning tools to help her. And all the cases that we have put forward in the Collective Against Islamophobia, we are able to help her and support her in that respect. Also, we need to say that a lot of crimes and discriminations are performed out of ignorance. A lot of people do not know the law in France. They think that they can discriminate a woman at the entrance of a restaurant, where it's completely illegal. So we can only help if we are contacted. So that's one first thing. Whenever this happens, have this reflex of just calling us and taking action, taking legal action in a calm, disciplined, but determined manner. And the second question was about the choice that we have for the second round of the election. and it really reflects the way Islamophobia is implemented in the French society. We have a right-wing Islamophobia that is more against around the idea of identity, and which presents Islam and the Muslims as an alien phenomenon. They are in contradiction with the French Judeo-Christian white identity, and anything different than that has to assimilate into this one model fits all. And on the left wing, we have also an ideological form of Islamophobia, which is coming at the same population against the same target group, but with different arguments. The issues of women's rights, the issues of laïcité, the issues of human rights and free speech. But what we see is that these values that seem to be positive at first glance, they are misused, they are manipulated to target the Muslims. So for example, the issues of women's rights, well, I might not be very well educated, but I thought so far that women's rights and feminism was about letting and guaranteeing to every woman that she can choose for herself however she wants to dress, whatever she wants to do, if she wants to study or to work, or nothing of that. Well, it seems when it comes to Muslim women, but they are being denied this very right, and we accuse them of either having a political agenda behind it, or being childish or being brainwashed and not being able to take a decision of their own free will. And if you think about it, these two attitudes, these two stigmatizations were exactly the same at the Middle Age when we wanted to exclude women from the wider society. So on that front, these two candidates do not have a more constructive stance when it comes to dealing with the Muslim and including them in the French society. But more important than who is going to win the election is in which condition, in which situation will we be when he is elected. So now François Hollande, for example, has a huge responsibility if he comes into power, because will he be stigmatizing the Muslims from a different angle, or will he try to unite the French people? And so this raises a major question in terms of responsibility.
Thank you so much. I think it was very interesting to listen to you, because you are coming from a vision from inside, and what you have been trying to do at the two levels, and I think from two different angles, is struggling for the rights of the people by saying we are not going to let it be, we are not going to accept to be treated the way it is. So it's reacting to discrimination in a legal way, and this is what we are doing. And the second part of what you are saying, coming to the instrumental and effective presence of Muslims, is not to be to accept to have a reactive role, but to come with a vision. So beyond anything that is happening is to work on solidarity, justice, sharing ethical values with all the citizens. At the end of the day, we have to, and what you are saying is quite important, beyond the elections there is living together. So you can change the result of the elections if you know how to deal with living together from the very beginning. Thank you so much for that. I think that that's all we have time for. Please let us know your thoughts and views on any of the shows you have seen, and here's the way to contact us.
Islam in Life welcomes your opinion. So please send us your suggestions as well as criticisms on any of the shows you have seen or would like to see. You can do all this by emailing us at islaminlife@presstv.co.uk. You can also be part of our online platform by joining our Facebook page, Islam and Life, on Press TV, where you can share your thoughts with other Islam and Life fans, engage with debates, and view past shows.
Finally, I would like to thank my guest, Marwan Muhammad. Thank you so much for being with us and for your insight in this debate. And I hope to see you next week, inshallah.